different now, John. Now I'm in charge! No more Dutch! And no more you. Implores. I implores you to go back and tell them to send someone just a little bit more impressive next time.
Well?
Oh. Poor John.
Red Dead Redemption is a 2010 action-adventure game developed by Rockstar San Diego and published by Rockstar Games. A successor to 2004's Red Dead Revolver. Dan Houser suggested that Revolver is set in a separate universe, but a version of the events in the plot could still have taken place due to the nature of legends told in the Red Dead game's world. Red Dead Redemption is set during the decline of the American frontier in the year 1911. It follows John Marston, a former outlaw who, after his wife and son are taken hostage by the government in ransom for his services as a hired gun, sets out to bring 3 members of his former gang to justice. The story of Red Dead takes us back to 2000, when Angel Studios began working on Red Dead Revolver under the oversight and funding of Japanese video game publisher Capcom. The project stemmed from Angel Studios and Capcom's partnership on the Resident Evil 2 port for the Nintendo 64. Capcom's Yoshiki Okamoto then approached Angel Studios with the idea for an original intellectual property entitled SWAT. It later adopted a Western theme at Okamoto's recommendation, redefining the acronym as Spaghetti Western Action Team. It is reported that inspiration for the game came from Capcom's 1985 arcade shoot-'em-up Gunsmoke. Its development was troubled, partially due to cultural differences between the two companies, and the game was left unfinished. In November 2002, Take-Two Interactive, parent company of Rockstar Games, announced that they had acquired Angel Studios, with it being moved to the Rockstar Games label and being renamed Rockstar San Diego. Following the purchase, Rockstar Games executives reviewed projects in development at the studio. Dan Houser, creative director at Rockstar Games, remarked that the game looked very good despite it being in an unplayable state. Okamoto left Capcom, which led to the company cancelling the title in late 2003. Rockstar Games decided to acquire the rights to Red Dead Revolver, and Rockstar San Diego would go on to finish development. Red Dead Revolver was released on the PlayStation 2 and Xbox in May 2004. After the release of Red Dead Revolver, Rockstar wanted to create its own Western video game from scratch. Early development began in 2005. Rockstar San Diego's 180-person team co-opted Rockstar Leeds, New England, North, and Toronto studios to facilitate development, making up a team of over 1,000. Estimations place the game's combined development and marketing budget between $80 to $100 million, which would have made it one of the most expensive video games ever made at the time. Red Dead Redemption's 1,500-page script was written in 2 years. Taking inspiration from films like The Wild Bunch, High Plains Drifter, Unforgiven, and The Proposition. The team felt that Red Dead Redemption's setting in 1911 allowed a more intriguing analysis of the transformation from the Old West into the modern world. The team wanted the game's depiction of violence to feel slightly raw and unpleasant, attempting realism without exaggeration. The open world was created to represent iconic features of the American frontier. The team organized field trips to Washington, D.C., visiting the Library of Congress and the National Archives building, captured a multitude of photographs, and analyzed various classic Western films, television shows, and novels. The game uses the proprietary Rockstar Advanced Game Engine, also known as Rage, to perform animation and rendering tasks, and the Euphoria and Bullet engines for further animation and environment rendering tasks.
Looking forward to creating in a PlayStation 3 game is a truly realized, truly immersive, living, breathing world. This is what we live for. You know, every 5 or 6 years, this amazing company like Sony comes along and gives you this wonderful new piece of equipment that allows you to start unlocking your visions and unlocking the dreams that you've been having for for however long. With Cell and with PlayStation 3, we feel very excited and very confident that we're going to be able to absolutely push the limits of what can be created and the experiences that we can immerse our audience in. We really know that we're going to be able to go to the next level in terms of realistic simulations and realistic immersion combined with incredible narrative, incredible storytelling, and those two components combined are what are going to create the experiences of
Overhauling the potential processing power of Rage allowed the game to create a high level of detail, including realistic animations and detailed textures. The potential power of the PlayStation 3 and Xbox 360 experience through the development kits motivated the team to begin development, and to create a game that could fully render the countryside, which was difficult to achieve on previous consoles. The game was envisioned to improve the core mechanics of Red Dead Revolver by scaling it up to the standard of other Rockstar games, maintaining key gameplay elements like the dead eye and dueling mechanics, but majorly overhauling the experience otherwise. In particular, the team faced a challenge in creating realistic movement for the horse, resulting in the engagement of a stunt horse to simulate movement for the designers. As the story developed, a range of characters were organically created based on the period. Red Dead Redemption features around 450 characters. The game required a large amount of character dialogue in order to feel alive, comparable to Rockstar's previous game Grand Theft Auto 4. Researchers at Rockstar developed a style guide based on real sayings of the time period. Rockstar hired Rod Edge as the full-time director to handle the game's performances recorded using motion capture technology. Actor Rob Wiethoff auditioned for the role of John Marston by folding laundry while reading his lines. He felt the audition was a waste of time, but received the role a few days later. He worked on the game for almost 2 years, with principal production lasting around 6 weeks.
I got a call from my agent, hey, you booked that Untitled video game project. And I said, oh, really? All right. I'm not a gamer. I've never really been much of a gamer, and that eventually surfaced throughout the first couple weeks of shooting because they would keep referring to GTA for different things. Remember in GTA when so-and-so did this and whatever? And I go, yeah. And I had no idea what he was talking about. And then finally, Rod Edge, the director, was like, did you ever play GTA? And I was like, I might have. I don't know what it is. And he was like, I knew it! Oh! And then everybody was like, what? No way! And of course they didn't care. They just thought it was so funny that I was trying to pretend, because I didn't want to offend anybody or upset them or maybe be like, well, we can't have you be the guy because you don't know what you're doing. They just were like, you're doing a good job, so we're going to run with it and make this work. It was awesome. The whole experience was.
John was developed to be a nuanced character, as opposed to an explicit villain or hero. Steve Palmer, who portrayed Bill Williamson, felt that John and Bill represented siblings in their former gang, while Dutch van der Linde was more of a parental figure. Benjamin Byron Davis, who portrayed Dutch, was told that Dutch was a well-read, charismatic gang leader who had lost his mind. Red Dead Redemption is one of the first games by Rockstar to use an original score. Music supervisor Ivan Pavlovich cited the large scale of the game as one of the largest difficulties when producing the score. To achieve an effective gaming experience, the game could not solely feature licensed music, like previous Rockstar games. In 2008, Rockstar engaged musicians Bill Elm and Woody Jackson to compose approximately 200 tracks for the game over 15 months. When researching music for inspiration, Jackson found that there was no Western sound in 1911. He felt that the soundtracks of 1960s Western films, such as Ennio Morricone's work on the Dollars trilogy, was more representative of Western music. Rockstar also consulted musicians who played traditional Western instruments, such as harmonica player Tommy Morgan. Red Dead Redemption was released for the PlayStation 3 and Xbox 360 in May 2010. It received critical acclaim for its visuals, music, performances, gameplay, and narrative. It won several accolades, including Game of the Year, and is considered by critics as one of the best video games ever made. It has sold more than 23 million copies. Undead Nightmare was later released as a standalone game, adding a new single-player campaign in which Marston searches for a cure for an infectious zombie plague. The prequel Red Dead Redemption 2 was released in 2018 and is currently the 7th best-selling game of all time, having sold a staggering 61 million copies.